My grandmother just passed away. I was always there for her, through all the hard times and happy times. I can't say the same for the rest of my family, so I don't know why they were so surprised when Grandma decided to leave everything to me in her will, and they got nothing. Hi everyone, I'm Jesse, a 27-year-old, and I never thought I'd be sharing a story like this. My family has been hit hard by a sad loss. Just a few days ago, my grandmother, Grandma Laura, passed away suddenly. She was the heart of our family, the one who kept us all close with her love, warmth, and wisdom. Losing her has left a hole in our lives that feels impossible to fill, and my family is struggling to accept her passing. We knew she was sick for a long time, but no one expected her to go so soon. The doctors had said she might have 7 more months, but she was gone by the end of the week. Grandma Laura was more than just a grandmother to us. She was someone we could trust, learn from, and lean on. Every family gathering felt special because of her joyful laughter, endless stories, and genuine interest in all our lives. Her love was without limits. She was always there to offer comfort, guidance, and support. Now, without her, our family feels lost, and the pain of her absence is heavy. Every morning when I wake up, I forget for a moment that she's gone. For a second, everything feels normal, and then I remember, she's really gone. I'll never get to smell her perfume again or help her bake those cookies. She hasn't had me on her lap in over a decade, but right now, I wish I could sit with her on her lap just once more. The days since she passed have felt strange and empty. The house, once full of her presence, now feels silent. Her favorite chair sits empty, and no one has the heart to sit in it. For the past 51 years, she lived in that house, sat in that chair, and held us together. Sitting in her chair now feels wrong. Everyone has been crying so much, it's like the sadness won't end. Grandma Laura was my dad's mom, and he passed away too. A few years ago, my dad passed away, and now my mom has been crying for days. The whole family feels like a big part of our hearts is missing, leaving an empty space that feels impossible to fill. No one is saying it out loud, but I can see it in the sad looks on their faces and the way they keep glancing at her chair. With Grandma Laura gone, the fragile balance in our family is starting to crack. She was the glue that held us all together, always calming things down and giving wise advice. Without her, tension is starting to build. We didn't realize just how much she held us together, and now that she's gone, small cracks in our relationships are showing. Even simple things, like planning her funeral, handling her things, and deciding on her estate, are causing fights. Everyone's emotions are running high, and it's sad to see once close family members now feeling this strain. My uncle wants everyone to pitch in for a big, fancy funeral because he thinks Grandma Laura deserves it. Some of the family agrees, saying she should have a special farewell. But my sister, who's in her first year of college and barely has enough money, can't afford to pitch in. She's living on ramen noodles and cheap food, and some of our cousins are also struggling with money. Tension is growing. After my uncle suggested the fancy funeral, my sister spoke up, saying Grandma Laura wouldn't want us to waste money like that. This caused a huge fight, with different sides of the family taking different stands. I'm stuck in the middle, just trying to deal with all the yelling while also grieving the loss of Grandma. I tried to calm everyone down, using some of the phrases Grandma used to say when people argued. But it just doesn't work the same way when it's not her saying them. I don't have her calming energy, and honestly, I feel pretty angry. Last night, my uncles almost started fighting over the funeral, right in Grandma's house, the house they grew up in, where Grandma raised them. She's barely gone, and they're already acting like kids. It feels so disrespectful to her memory, and I wanted to scream at them for acting this way, but I know it wouldn't make any difference. The days just keep going, and it feels harder with each one. I can see how the tension is affecting our family. Siblings who were once so close now avoid each other, and nobody is really talking. People barely look each other in the eyes anymore. The strong bonds Grandma Laura built between us seem to be coming apart right before my eyes, and it breaks my heart. The reading of her will is making everyone even more tense. Grandma Laura was said to have saved up a lot of money over the years, though no one knows exactly how much. She lived a simple life, only really spending on birthday and Christmas gifts. But we know she had money, It's become almost like a family legend. My uncle swears he saw her bank book when he was 7 and saw $1 billion. No one believes him, but we know there were a lot of zeros. Some family members are open about hoping to get an inheritance, while others try to keep it quiet. It's sad to see how the thought of money is causing a rift between us, filling the room with unease and distrust. People are eyeing each other and asking questions about the money, each wanting to know what they'll get. It makes me sick. Even my sister has joined in. Grandma Laura hasn't even been gone a week, and already the family she loved and raised has turned this into a hunt for money. I feel like crying. As we wait for the will to be read, I'm torn. I'm worried about the fights and disagreements that might come over her estate. I fear her death might change our family forever, breaking the close bond we once had. But I'm also really sad because her passing has made me think about life and how short it really is. It's a reminder that nothing in life lasts forever, and that family is about love, memories, and connection, not money. Everything just feels so hard right now. I'm suddenly scared of losing everyone I love, scared that our family will never be the same. I'm scared that when the will is read, someone will be upset with what they get, and with such a big family, jealousy is bound to happen. Honestly, I don't even know why I'm sharing all this here. I don't know. I guess I'm hoping someone will give me advice or have the perfect way to make my family stop fighting. I just want us all to honor Grandma Laura's memory and act the way she'd want us to. But that feels more and more impossible as each day goes by. Update 1. 2 of my uncles actually got into a drunken fight over the funeral plans. Can you believe it? Instead of mourning Grandma Laura, they were arguing about money. Both of them were drinking at a local bar. My broke uncle, James, was venting to his friend about my other uncle, Larry. Larry's the one who wants everyone to chip in for a big, expensive funeral. James was bad-mouthing Larry, and Larry overheard him. They started yelling at each other, and things quickly got out of hand. The police ended up getting called, and both uncles were arrested for disorderly conduct. It was such an embarrassing scene, and I couldn't believe it was happening. Half of the family thinks Larry is out of touch for expecting everyone to pay for a fancy funeral. Larry's wife comes from a wealthy family, so even though our family isn't rich, he's used to a more luxurious life now. He seems to forget that not everyone has the money to spare. Meanwhile, James is a recovering addict who's been sleeping on a friend's couch for 5 months while he looks for a job. Of course, he can't afford an expensive funeral. Honestly, I'm not taking sides. I just want them both to stop fighting and remember that their mom just died. Seeing them like this is incredibly disappointing. I used to look up to them, and now they're facing legal trouble because of their actions. It's a harsh reminder that grief and stress can bring out the worst in people, even in those we thought we knew well. Larry's wife bailed him out of jail the next morning, but James had to stay there for 15 hours before someone helped him out. Now, the two aren't even speaking to each other. The aftermath has been a mess, with family members taking sides and making things worse. It's clear that Grandma Laura's passing has deeply changed our family, and I'm scared the damage can't be fixed. It's heartbreaking. It breaks my heart to see the strong bond we once had fall apart right in front of me. I'm struggling to accept that things might never be the same. Holding on to grudges and fighting over money is the last thing Grandma Laura would have wanted. This is a painful reminder of how short life is and how precious family should be. I wish I could say things are getting better, but they aren't. The hurt caused by everything that's happened since Grandma Laura passed is still fresh, and it's hard to see a way forward. This is a harsh reminder that life can get messy, and family drama can be really tough. I don't know how the two sides of my family are supposed to come together in a few days for the reading of Grandma Laura's will. If she didn't have much, I doubt anyone will be calm or understanding. They're already fighting over a few $1,000s. How will they act if there are millions, like the family rumors say? I'm just hoping the lawyer has a panic button in her office because things are about to get very, very intense. Hey, I'm back with an update, and it's not a happy one. I'd hoped the family would come together peacefully when the will was read, but that didn't happen. We were all waiting for the reading of Grandma Laura's will, and what happened next left me totally shocked. I could hardly believe it when the lawyer announced it. Grandma Laura didn't leave any money to any of my aunts, uncles, cousins, or even my sister. She left everything to me. Millions of dollars, all to me. It felt like the room was spinning, and my heart was pounding so hard I could barely hear. The family was furious. I didn't even need to look around to feel their anger. When I did, I saw faces full of disbelief, anger, and betrayal. My uncles, aunts, and cousins were exchanging looks, muttering to each other, and it was clear they were anything but happy, probably the understatement of the century. As the reality of the situation hit me, I felt a rush of emotions, overwhelmed, confused, and torn. I never asked for this. I never thought I'd be the only one to inherit Grandma Laura's estate. It felt like a huge weight dropped on me, and I didn't know how to handle it. I'm 27, just an entry-level computer programmer making $70,000 a year. My life was simple and calm, and now, suddenly, I'm a millionaire, and my family hates me for it. They didn't have to say anything. I could see it in their faces. Even my mom looked disappointed. I felt a pang of guilt. I knew my family expected to get something from Grandma Laura, and now it's all in my hands. I never wanted to come between my family and what they thought was their share, and I didn't understand why Grandma Laura made this choice. Sure, I spent a lot of time with her, maybe a little more than others, but everyone knew I was her favorite grandchild. Still, that shouldn't outweigh her love for her own kids. I haven't even been a perfect granddaughter. I just visited her a few times each week. As the shock wore off, the tension in the room grew worse. My family's anger reached a boiling point, and they started accusing me of tricking Grandma Laura into changing her will. Their words cut deep. I tried to explain that I had no idea what was in the will and that Grandma Laura's decision was her own, but they wouldn't listen. The room felt toxic, and I felt attacked from all sides. My own family, people I had loved my whole life, were now blaming me, doubting my honesty, and tearing apart my relationship with Grandma Laura. It was a nightmare, and I felt completely helpless. Everyone was shouting at me, and I could see the poor lawyer looked like she wanted to escape. Even my sister yelled, saying I took advantage of Grandma Laura's illness to make her leave me everything. Of course, I didn't do that, but nothing I said could make them believe me. Uncle Larry was red with anger, even though he's the one who needs it the least. His family is wealthy. I tried to hold back my tears, but they came anyway. The fact that my own family, people I grew up with, even my mom, were so quick to think the worst of me hurt more than I can explain. In that moment, I felt completely alone and abandoned. I don't think I've ever felt this terrible before, not even when I heard about Grandma Laura's death. I'm overwhelmed by this inheritance that I never asked for and by the way my family turned against me afterward. Any happiness about the inheritance has been crushed by the pain of losing my family's love and support. As the accusations and yelling went on, I just couldn't take it anymore. The pain was too much, so I ran to my car, barely able to see through my tears, and locked myself inside. I felt trapped, broken, and like I couldn't breathe. Sitting here in my car, I'm crying harder than I ever have. I'm not only mourning Grandma's loss but also the broken relationship with my family. The thought of being at odds with them is unbearable, and I don't know how to make sense of it. This inheritance, which should have been a blessing, feels like a curse. It's brought out the worst in my family, and the fallout is worse than I ever imagined. I'm still trying to process everything, seeking legal advice to figure out the inheritance, but the emotional weight of this is much harder than anything else. This whole experience has been a painful lesson on how money and inheritance can bring out the darkest sides of people, even within a family. As I sit here and write this, I'm filled with sadness and heartbreak. I never wanted to be on bad terms with my family, and knowing our relationship might never be the same just crushes me. I'm trying to take time to grieve, to heal, and to find a way to honor Grandma's memory despite all the chaos. Right now, I'm in my car, sitting in a Taco Bell parking lot, writing this to you. I needed to get far away from the lawyer's office, but I knew I couldn't go home, so here I am eating my feelings. The poor kid at the drive-thru looked like he might call the cops on the crying lady ordering a double cheeseburger. I know my family's probably at my apartment, banging on the door, which is why I didn't go back. I feel terrible for my roommate, who's probably dealing with all of it without any idea why there are 40 people yelling at her. She's going to think I've joined the mafia or something. I really don't know what to do now. Everything feels so wrong. Normally, I'd ask Grandma Laura for advice in a situation like this. But she's gone, and she's the one who put me in this position. I just don't know what to do. Update 3. Hey everyone, it's been a few weeks since my last post, and I know many people have been wondering what's happened. I'm sorry for disappearing, but I really lost it for a while. I hope you understand. I wish I could say things have gotten better, but unfortunately, it's been a wild ride. After the reading of Grandma Laura's will, my family's reaction was worse than I could have expected. They accused me of tricking Grandma and stealing their inheritance, and things only got worse from there. After driving around, I ended up going a few hours out of town, just trying to escape everything. I've been hiding out in motels, avoiding my family's anger and all the accusations. I haven't been doing much, just avoiding my phone because the texts and calls haven't stopped. Mostly, I've been watching bad daytime TV to pass the time and eating way too much junk food. I had to use my savings just to pay for the motel, which nearly made me cry. But then I remembered I'm rich now, and I laughed like a maniac. The guy at the check-in desk must have thought I was crazy. Just when I thought things were calming down and maybe I could go back home to talk things out, the cops showed up at my motel. Yes, the police. My family actually reported me for theft, saying I'd taken their money and run. I couldn't believe it. The police handcuffed me and told me about the accusations. My family claimed I stole their inheritance and ran off, which isn't true at all. I hadn't taken a penny. It's all still in Grandma's trust as far as I know. I tried to explain that Grandma Laura left me the estate in her will, but the cops were skeptical. My family had convinced them I was some kind of mastermind thief. It was a nightmare come true, and I felt so helpless. Thankfully, I managed to convince them to let me call my lawyer, who handled Grandma's will. It felt like forever, but she eventually arrived and helped me out. I was just sitting in the back of a police car, handcuffed. It took a lot of begging to get the officers to let me call my lawyer. Usually, when you ask the cops if you can call a lawyer, they don't love the idea. But when my lawyer arrived, she explained to them that the estate was legally mine, left to me by Grandma herself. It wasn't stolen. After a long talk, the police finally let me go, but they warned me to stay away from my family and avoid any contact until things are legally settled. They seemed annoyed, not at me, but probably at my family for wasting police time and making them look foolish. It was heartbreaking to realize my own family would go so far to ruin my name and accuse me of something I didn't do. This whole thing has left me completely drained. I never thought inheriting money could bring so much pain and trouble. That was just yesterday, and I'm still at the motel, trying to deal with the betrayal and false accusations. The legal fight over Grandma's estate is ongoing, and it's taking a huge toll on me. Once happy memories of family gatherings now feel distant and spoiled. I'm dealing with a deep sense of loss, and on top of that, I'm furious. I'm so mad it feels like my blood's boiling. How dare they call the cops on me, their own family, instead of stopping to wonder why Grandma left everything to me? They decided I must have tricked her. They didn't stop to think that maybe she noticed I was the one helping her to the bathroom when her nurse was off duty. Or that I was the one who stayed on her couch for 5 days when she found out she was sick, just to be there for her when no one else would. In an earlier update, I downplayed how much time I spent with Grandma Laura to make my family look better, which I now realize was foolish. None of you would have judged me, and they're never going to read this. But it's true that they only visited Grandma Laura maybe once a week, if that. I was there almost every single day. I changed her diapers when her own kids kept making excuses. Of course she left her money to me. I was the one doing the work her family should have done. During these weeks at the motel, I've been thinking about my options, and I've almost made up my mind. I was going to split the money equally with everyone because I thought it was only fair. But now, they're not getting a single dime. If Grandma Laura wanted me to have the money, then so be it. They can fight over the house and jewelry all they want. I don't care. I want to thank everyone here who's supported me with your kind words and advice. Your encouragement has really helped me through this tough time. I'm just focusing on getting legal advice, staying strong, and standing up for myself. I talked to my lawyer, and she said the will is airtight. Grandma Laura made sure there were no loopholes, so nobody can challenge it. I love her so much and I miss her every day. There's an emptiness without her, but I'm going to honor her wishes no matter what. Update 4, final update. Hi everyone, here's the update you've been waiting for. After the false accusations and betrayal from my family, the legal battle over Grandma Laura's estate continued, but I finally won. My uncles, who falsely accused me of theft and wasted police time, were actually arrested for filing a false report. It felt like a small but real victory. I knew the cops were angry about the false report, but I didn't expect this outcome. Still, I think it was justice. But it didn't end there. My family actually had the nerve to come to me for help. They wanted me to use my inheritance to bail my uncles out of jail. I was shocked at their audacity. After all the pain and trouble they caused me, they had the nerve to ask me for money. I almost laughed in their faces, though it wouldn't have been a friendly laugh, so I kept it to myself. I refused. I've had enough of their fake behavior, their greed, and their lack of trust. I've realized that my family's actions are beyond forgiveness. Their greed, manipulation, and betrayal are too much to overlook. There's no way I'm giving them a single cent of my inheritance, which was legally left to me in the will. They tried to make things right by apologizing and reaching out, but I was done. I'd lost all trust in them. I didn't even want to see my mom. She hadn't stood up for me when they tried to get me arrested, so I don't owe her anything. Now, I've made a big decision. I'm taking my inheritance, packing up my things, and moving to a new state, far from this toxic family. I've already blocked their numbers and cut all ties. It wasn't an easy choice, but it was necessary for my well-being and peace of mind. I'm going to live my life for myself now, not for them. As I write this final update, I feel a mix of emotions, sadness, anger, but also hope. It's been a wild ride, and I've learned a lot about family, trust, and resilience. I want to thank everyone here for being there for me during this tough time. Your support meant everything. To anyone going through something similar, my advice is to stand up for yourself, seek legal help, and surround yourself with people who truly care. Cutting ties with family isn't easy, but toxic relationships are harmful no matter who they're with. Remember, you deserve respect, love, and happiness. For me, I'm looking forward to a future filled with new opportunities and good experiences. I'm determined to use my inheritance wisely and build a better life for myself. The path ahead may be uncertain, but I'm ready to face it with courage. Thank you for being a part of this journey. This is my last update, but I'll always be grateful for the support I received here. When I felt completely alone, you all saved me. And to anyone reading, it's clear from many comments that family drama like this happens all the time, with people sharing similar experiences. Thank you again for everything. Hey, I know someone who got about 99% of the inheritance, and it ended up tearing their family apart. So, if you've ever been through something similar or dealt with inheritance drama, feel free to share your story in the comments because it seems like this happens a lot.